Welcome everybody. People who want to sit on the stage, if you can find space on the stage, you can come and sit. We'll go ahead and start.
श्रीवाग्भवकूटजातचतुर्वेद स्वरूपिणीं शृङ्गारकामराजोद्भव सकलविश्वव्यापिनीं देवीं शक्तिबीजोद्भव मातृकानशरीरिणीं देवनुत भवरोगहर वैद्यपतिहृदय विहारिणीं भावरागतालमोदिनीं भक्ताभीष्टप्रदायिनीं सेवकजनपालन गुरुगुहरूप मुद्दुकुमारजननीं भज रे करेक्ट.
रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं
श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अपाललोचनशम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपन व्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम् सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावदिभ्याम् निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरीमण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळीं प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां हृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसदरागमुद्भाव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथीं योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्ण कारुण्यसिन्धो कृष्ण कारुण्यसिन्धो कृत्वा निशेषतापान् प्रदिशतु परमानन्दसन्दोहलक्ष्मी अज्ञात्वा ते महत्त्वं यदिह निगदितं विश्वनाथ क्षमेथः स्तोत्रं चैतत्सहस्रोत्तरमधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् द्वेधा नारायणीयं श्रुतिषु च जनुषस्तुत्यता वर्णनेन Sphitam leelavatararidamita kurutam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Janaki Kantasmaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Namasadase Namasabhayai. With the abundant blessings and grace of Paramatma Shriyapati, we have been gathering in this very revered premises of Sri Mahalakshmi temple, and the cooperation and the very goodwill extended by the committee, all the members of the committee, headed by its chairman, and to all the Bhattar Swamis of all Sannidhis in the temple. This event has been made memorable only because of them. My namaskarams to them. And I have to confess that they may have organized, but it is Astikas like you who thronged in large numbers every day who made Bhagavatam so special. So, accolades, kudos to each one of you. And my thanks also goes to Sri Kannabiran and his Dharmapatni for hosting me. So that said, this is the 7th day, the last day of our Srimad Bhagavatam Sapthaham series. Those of you who have listened to Bhagavatam very many times in your life, from various Mahans, various Pravachanakartas, must already know that there is so much in Bhagavatam that I haven't covered. But this is just an appetizer. This is just a motivation for those of you who may have never heard a Bhagavata Saptaham to go deeper into Srimad Bhagavatam, understand from various acharyas the details of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because there are so many things in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srishtikramam, Bhugola Nirnayam, so many topics that will be really interesting. But I've tried to cover some topics which I found is worth covering in a 7-day series. In that series, we discussed about the greatness of Parikshit, greatness of Shukabrahmam, and the circumstances that led to the birth of Srimad Bhagavatam. That said, you must have noticed me reciting one particular shloka. Many of you may be not too aware of that particular shloka. Some of you may be. Achaturvadanor brahma dvibahur aparo harihi aphala lochana shambhu bhagavan badarayanaha. It is believed that Bhagavan comes in different avatars for Chetano Jivanam, to uplift the Chetana. He comes through various avatars, and there is no number fixed. Please remember this. I have been answering this very many times. Dashavataram is just a number. There are many avatarams even now. He may have had an avataram in Scotland, one in Tasmania, we don't know. He says, Sambhavami yuge yuge. Every now and then I will take avataram. Even now there will be an avataram. There will be an Aveshya avataram somewhere. There will be an Apurna avataram somewhere. But we don't know where. Why? Because we don't have great Maharishis like Valmiki or Vyasa to spot and tell us that this is an avataram. See, Rama never said, I am an avataram, I am an avataram. Valmiki spotted. He said if he is able to give moksham to Jatayu, then he is an avataram. Gachalokan anuttaman. See, when a person is saying I am a normal human being, he should act like a normal human being. When he is wandering in the forest in search of Sita, he sees a dying Jatayu. What will any other person do? They will shed 2 tears and go. But he says, Gachalokan anuttaman. Go, I grant you moksham. Immediately, Kuresha, the famed student of Ramanuja, asks, which normal human being has the ability to give moksham? You see so many roadkills here. Will you look at one deer and say, go to moksham? That will ask you in return, will you go first? So we don't have the ability to grant. If Rama is granting moksham, then even without his knowledge, he is showing that he is Parabrahman. And who spotted that for us? Valmiki. Same is the case with Vyasacharya. So rishis have spotted and told us that these are avatarams. Today we don't have so many rishis. That is why we are not able to spot those avatarams. Just because we are not able to spot, it doesn't mean there are no avatarams. So there are many avatarams. Dashavataram is just a chosen 10. That is why the order will vary Acharya to Acharya. Some will include Buddha, some will exclude Buddha. Some will include Balarama, some will exclude Balarama. Some will include Krishna, some will say Krishna took the 10 avatarams. All this happens because avataram number is just an indication. It is not something written on stone. That said, all these avatars have been mentioned in our granthas. Though Valmiki occupies a very significant position for having given us Srimad Ramayanam, which is Adi Kavyam, Vyasacharya has a better position. Why? Because he first split the Vedas. He was called Krishna Dvaipayana. He was born on an island. Dvipam is an island. Dvaipayana, one who's born on an island. What was his complexion? Dark. So Krishna Dvaipayana. So this Krishna Dvaipayana took upon himself the Herculean task of segregating, compartmentalizing the Vedic mantras. Some mantras were poetic in nature. They were all padyam in nature. And they were in the form of riks. So he categorized them, and that category is called rik. So this is Rig Vedam. A large part of the Rig Vedam can be sung because poetry is easy to be sung because there will be some rhyming, there will be alliterations. So it is easier for one to sing poetry. So Rig Vedam is poetry. That is why a large section of the Rig Vedam is capable of being sung. That becomes Sama Vedam. Samagayanna steha vuha vuha, we say. So Samavedam is Rigvedam with music. Then there were certain mantras which were prose in nature, Gadyam in nature. They all became Yajurvedam. Then parts of all the three Vedas were collected by the rishis, and that became the Atharvana Vedam. So we have 4 Vedas. Who compartmentalized? He didn't compose. He compartmentalized. He just segregated. That process is called Vyasam. What did he do to the Vedas? He did Vyasam to the Vedas. So he was called Vedavyasa. So Krishna Dvaipayana was the original name. Later the acquired name was Vedavyasa. So this Vedavyasa was the one who segregated the Vedas, gave us the Brahma Sutras, so on and so forth. And he also gave us the Mahabharatam. Bharata Panchamo Vedaha Jamata Dashamograha is the Subhashitam. If at all the status of the 5th Veda has to be accorded to something, it has to be Mahabharatam. Sapadalaksha Grantham. 1,25,000 plus verses inclusive of Harivamsham is what our Acharya states. So large is Mahabharatam. So he gave us Mahabharatam. He was the one who gave us the Puranams as well. So this Bhagavata Puranam was also originally composed by Vyasa. But it was taught to his son Shukabrahmam, who came and answered the questions of Parikshit. So we assume that Shukabrahmam gave us. Shukabrahmam delivered. But who composed? It is Vyasacharya. So however you go around, you will come back to Vyasa. So Vyasa has in a way been a towering personality. That is why the Peetham where we sit is generally called Vyasa Peetham. So Vyasacharya, who is he? He creates granthams. Like how does he create? Like Brahma. But Brahma has 4 heads. Vyasacharya has only 1. So he is Brahma minus 3 heads. Achatur Vadanor Brahma. He is Brahma minus 3 heads. He helps us sustain, lead our life in a very blissful manner. So he does the role of Vishnu. But Vishnu has 4 hands. Vyasa has only 2. So he is Vishnu minus 2 hands. Dvibahur aparo harihi. He is the one who helps us annihilate our sins, destroy our sins, dissolution of our sins. He does the role of Shiva, Mahadeva. But Mahadeva has 3 eyes. So he is Shiva minus 1 eye. Apala Lochana Shambhuhu. So Vyasa is Brahma minus 3 heads, Vishnu minus 2 hands, Shiva minus 1 eye. Achaturvadanor Brahma, Dvibahur aparo harihi, aphala lochana shambhu, Bhagavan Badarayanaha we say. That Vyasacharya, through his son Shukabramam, delivered Bhagavatam for us and gave us the Mahatmyam of various avatarams like Matsya Kurma Varaha Nrsimha Vamana Parashurama Rama Hamsa Avatara Kapilopadesha Daksha Yajna Prutu Charitra Ajamilopakhyanā Ambarisha Charitra Jadabharata Charitra, then Krishna Avataram. We have covered mostly all of them in whatever little time it was possible. Akrura was the very trusted minister of Kamsa. So he was well educated as well. So you had educated ministers at one point in time. Akrura yesha bhagavadangri parischiraya tvaddarshanakshamamanaha kshitipala bhitya tasyajnayaiva punarikshita mudyatastvām ananda bharamati bhuritaram babhara. The motive, the word that they use in Urdu is very unique. Maqsad. So the objective of bringing Krishna to Mathura by Kamsa was not to welcome him, but to kill him. Akrura was aware of it. Yet he took this as a golden opportunity that he had bequeathed from Kamsa because he was waiting to see Krishna. He couldn't go and see because he was in Mathura. Everything was CCTV camera was fixed everywhere. So he was worried that I should not be going out without Kamsa's permission. And now came the God-blessed opportunity where Kamsa said, you go bring Krishna. See, the beauty is, when you want to attain or reach something which is unattainable or which you thought was unattainable, finally you're reaching it. Your journey to attaining that becomes more enjoyable than the joy that you get upon attaining it. So the journey in itself becomes the destination. Andal, the mystic poetess in the Tamil language, says, Povan pogindrarai pogamal kattu unnai kuvuvan vandu nindrom. She says, Povan pogindrarai pogamal. Povan pogindrar. What does Povan pogindrar mean? Simple Tamil. Poganam garthukaga porava. What is that? Where, say you are going from point B to point A. So the journey is from point B to point A. What are you going to reach point A? So to reach point A is your upayam, your objective, and you'll get some joy. But the joy that you get in thinking about how to reach that point A will be more enjoyable. Imagine you're in Bharata Desham, you just have 1 week and you have made time to go to Tirupati. What will you do? First, if you have reached Chennai or Bangalore, you'll pack your food. You'll sit in that vehicle. You'll be worried. Every now and then you'll be worried whether I will reach on time, whether I have to go get the darshan. So as the vehicle reaches the foothills of Tirumala, Tirupati, there will be a huge Garuda. There will be Dwarapalakas on either sides. You have to get down from your vehicle, take everything from your shariram and from your vehicle and put it through that machine. Then you have to walk a few yards and then take those materials, again put that back to your vehicle and then travel. Srimad Makila Mahimahi Mandala Dharani Dhara Mandala Kandalasya Nikhila Sura Suravandita Varaha Kshetra Vibhushanasya Shesha Chala Garuda Chala Simha Chala Vrishabha Chala Narayana Chala Anjana Chaladri Shikhari Mala Kulasya. We say he is the one who sits in the valley formed by 7 hills. Anjanadri, Sheshadri. That is why if you come to this beautiful temple and see Venkateshwara Swami here, just below his Pada Kamalam, there will be depiction of the 7 hills. Please see it. And each hill, whoever represents it, there will be that particular depiction of that deity, if you see in our temple. So you cross those 7 hills, you would have received one tag, everything they'll put and give it to you. Then you'll have to go to that Vaikuntha Dwaram in the morning, if it's a morning darshan. Again, you'll be worried, what if some VIP comes and they will stop the queue? So you'll be worried that Bhagavan will make you sit on pins and needles. So then you'll have to cross one cage after the other. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. Then in one of the cages you'll be caught for some time. Then after that you have to cross a bridge. Setupata Sima, Syamantita Samudra. Then you have to go alongside the wall. And as you go alongside the wall, you get the huge Gopuram and you will get the waters that wash your feet. As they wash your feet, you enter the temple. On the left, you see Rangamantapam. This was the place where for over a period of 10 years in the 13th century, during the invasion of Malik Kafur, and later through Ulugh Khan, who was later called Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the Utsava Murti of Sri Ranganatha was housed here for protection. So it is called Rangamantapam. So after that, you do a Pradakshinam around that. You see Nayaka and Vijayanagara architecture. It is Vaikhanasa Agama temple. So you see the Balipitham, you see the Dhvajastambam. Then you go through the Silver Dwaram, you enter again, you take left, you see Varadaraja Swami Sannidhi. Then you see the Bangaru Dwaram, all queues will be put together. Now your bigger worry is, if somebody pushes me, what will happen to me? Right, because something happens, then there will be Ashaucham to the temple. They have to close. Then we will be worried, why should we cause hindrance? And that is when we will be debating with Brahma about our height. If there are 4-5 Mahadwarapalakas in front of us, then we will not be able to see. Then we have to slowly climb that wooden stair. You will have a beautiful Garuda, extremely well dressed. Opposite that will be 2 Dwarapalakas. There will be a Ghanta. Then if it is early morning darshanam, you will be allowed very close to the Moolamurti. Else you will be asked to have a darshan from the outer doorstep itself. In that, people will start putting their hands above. And in that crevice, you have to see Bhagavan for a few seconds. So seeing Bhagavan for a few seconds was your objective. But this journey became more enjoyable than seeing Bhagavan. So that is where the journey in itself becomes the destination. Povan Pogindrarai Pogamal Kathu. So Akrura Gamanam was similar to that. He would have attained joy when he saw Krishna. But till he saw Krishna, he had some dreams. How will Krishna be? I've heard that he has got curly tresses. I've heard that his cheeks look as if the Emerald Mountain were cut into 2 pieces and butters were applied layer after layer. I've heard that his gem-studded fish earrings on either sides will show reflection on his face. So every second you start thinking about Krishna. So this is called Akrura Gamanam. Yajneshu yajna purushaha purushaihi purushottamaha ijyate yokhila dharas tam drakshyami jagatpatim. Akrura thinks, Vishnu Purana Vakyam, I've been performing yajnam all these years. I'm going to see the phalam of that yajnam in front of me in some time. As Akrura was going, Akrura's chariot entered Vrindavanam. Immediately the people saw the emblem of Kamsa's Rajyam and they were extremely happy, and they were also worried that they should give the best hospitality to some person from the Rajyam. Immediately everybody came, welcomed Akrura. They offered the best sweets to Akrura. They were all running dairy products, right? So you can offer the best, right from Shondesh to Gude Roshogullo to Peda, you can offer everything under the sun. So Akrura was offered. That is when Akrura discloses the secret that Krishna was not born to Nandagopa and Yashoda. A very pitiable state in entire Bhagavatam is when Nandagopa listens to this. The boy whom they cherished entire life was told in a second that this boy is not your child. Very painful moment. After mustering some courage, Nandagopa goes and informs Yashoda. Yashoda is not able to believe her ears. She couldn't believe what she heard. She said, who gave him the name Akrura? He's Akrura. Akruraha Sakrura Hridayaha. मैतद्विदस्य करुणस्य नाम भूदक्रूर इत्येदतीव दारुणः योऽसावानश्वास्य सुदुःखितं जनं प्रियात् प्रियं नेष्यति पारमध्वनः अयमद्धृतगोकुलेक्षण कथमक्रूर इति प्रजल्प्यते अथवा भुवनेषु दारुणाः प्रथिता पुण्यजना निशाचराः. Vedanta Deshika says, I know why he was given the name Akrura on similar lines with the word Punya Janaha. You remember day 2 I spoke about Punya Janaha and said Punya Janaha doesn't mean people who have done Punyam. Rakshasas are called Punya Janaha. Like how the sadistic mentality bearing Rakshasas are called Punya Janaha, same is the case with Akruraha, who is a Krura Hridayaha. That entire night the Gopikas threes cry. They say that sun should not rise the next morning. Only if it rises he will take Krishna away. The next morning when Krishna is put into the chariot and he is taken, Yashoda runs behind the chariot. She says, who will give my dear son butter every morning? She says, I am unable to tolerate the separation. Krishna, when will you see me? His eyes just looked at Yashoda, and after that Krishna never came back to Vrindavan. So as they left, Akrura reaches the banks of Yamuna and he has to do is Sandhya Vandanam. So he gets into the waters in a second, in the flash. Everything is magic in Krishna Avataram. Within the Yamuna waters, he saw Krishna as Narayana seated on Adishesha. Every minute in Krishna Avataram will have some VFX. Something. Same is the case, like how Akrura, the greatest devotee, saw Krishna. Similarly, when Bhagavata Saram Sriman Narayaneeyam was composed by Bhattatri 400 years back in Sri Guruvayur, a kshetram in Kerala very close to Thrissur, in order to get his rheumatoid arthritis, Vatarogam, annihilated through the grace of another Acharya called Tunjattu Ramanuja Eluttachan, he wrote the essence of Bhagavatam in the form of 1036 verses called Sriman Narayaneeyam. Bhattatri, who began with excruciating pain in Dashakam 1 till Dashakam 97, he was suffering. But the pain had slowly reduced. In the 98th Dashakam, he says Krishna Tasmai Namaste and prostrates on the floor. That is when he realizes that he has been cured of rheumatoid arthritis because he is able to do Shashtanga Namaskaram. So that 98th Dashakam is called Namaskara Dashakam, Krishna Tasmai Namaste. So Bhagavatam's essence through Narayaneeyam, his kavyam, got over in 98th Dashakam itself. Later it was his appendix portion. He wanted to have an anubhavam of Bhagavan. He gave the 99th Dashakam. After finishing the 99th Dashakam, he sat in Namaskara Mantapam of Guruvayur. He was leaning on to the pillar. He thought of Bhagavan and said, Hey Bhagavan, you took the avataram of Matsya to bring the essence of the Vedas back. And as Kurma, when the wealth was lost, you took the avataram of Kurma to support the Mandarodhara Kurmam. And you came as Ajita at the top, as Dhanavantri to give the Amritam, as Mohini to distribute the Amritam. Vadavarayai, Mattaki, Vasukiyai, Nanaki, Kadalvannan, Pandurunal, Nidranasya, Parasya, Kurma, Vapushaha, Nishwasa, Vatormayaha. When Bhuma Devi was suffering at the hands of the tyrant Asura called as Hiranyaksha, Pashiturthu Kidanda Parmagatku Pandorunal, Mashudambin Nirvara, Manamila, Pandriyam, Teshudaya, Tevar Tiruvaranga, Chelvanar, Uddhritasi Varahena, Krishnena Shatabahuna, Gona, Ravair Gurguraihi, you came as Varaha, uplifted Bhuma Devi, killed the tyrant Hiranyaksha and restored peace and bliss on earth. When that little boy Prahlada said, Sarvatra asti sada asti, Trilokyamet adakhilam narasimha garbham, as satapatala bhishane sarabasa attahasodbhate spurat kridi parisputat brukutike pivaktre krite. You came as Nrsimha and proved the words of your devotee right. Satyam vidhatum nija bhritya bhashitam. When you came as Vamana, accepting the waters of Bali Chakravarti, you came as the little boy, grew into a different form, measured the worlds. While your foot was washed with the waters of Ganga. And on the other side, you kept your holy foot on Prithvi. That ahankaram of Bali, you made him push it down to Patalam. On the other hand, when you realize that your father Jamadagni was killed by a Kartavirya, by Kshatriya king called Kartavirya Arjuna, you went behind just not him, behind every tyrant Kshatriya, killed 21 such clans, took the blood and then went to a kshetram called Syamantaka Panchakam and performed the Tarpanam for your father. Then you created a Parashurama kshetram. On the other hand, when you were born as Rama to Dasharatha and Kaushalya, you went behind Vishwamitra to serve that Acharya. You killed Subahu, drove away Maricha, gave Uddharanam to Ahalya. And when you went to the Pattinam of Janaka, you lifted the Shiva's bow. And while you wanted to prove your prowess as a Kshatriya, the bow split into two. As a result of it, with the Adesham of your father and Acharya, you married Sita, you came with Sita back to Ayodhya, lived for 12 years happily. On the 25th year, while you were asked to become a Yuvaraja, came another shocking decision that you have to go to Dandakaranyam for 14 years, Pitrivakya Paripalanam, you listened to your father. Along with Sita and Lakshmana, Agrata Prayaya Uramaha, Sita Madhye Sumadhyama, Prishtatastu Danushpani, Lakshmanaha Anujagamaha. All three of you, like the Akara, Ukara, Makaram of Pranavam, walked to the forests of Dandakaranyam. Paduka, Medinincha, the Padukas of yours was given to Bharata, who did Paduka Pattabhishekam. You went to the ashramam of Atri, Anasuya, Sutikshna, Sharabanga, Agastya, Valmiki. Then, on the banks of river Godavari in Panchavati, when Shurpanaka came, the Garvabhangam of Shurpanaka happened. After Shurpanaka Garvabhangam, Karadushanadi Trishiras Vadham happened in Janasthanam. Then you gave moksham to Jatayu, Agrahya Akshunya Yoga Patham Agrahyatam Jatayum, Tiryanchameva Bhavatam, you gave moksham to Jatayu. There was Hanumat Samagamam, you made friendship with Sugriva, killed Vali, made Sugriva the king, Angada the Yuvaraja, the Vanaras went in different directions. In the southern direction went Hanuman. With upon the grace of the Anguliyakam that you had given, took off from Mahendragiri Parvatam, Apara, Paravara, Parikha, Parivrita, Parapura, Parasrita, Davadahana, Javana, Pavana, Bhava, Kapivara, Parishwanga Bhavita, Sarvaswadana, Darpo, Dagra, Dashendriyana, Namanaha, Naktachara, Dishtite, Dehesmin, Bhavasindhunam, Parigate, Dinam Dashamasthitaha, Adhyatve, Hanumat Samena Guruna, Prakyapitarthaf Puma Lanka Ruddha Videha Raja Tanaya Nyayena Lalapyate. He went to Sita, gave away the ring, took that Chudamani, burnt Lanka, Anjile Ondre Pettan, Anjile Ondre Tavi, Anjile Ondre Yaraga, Aruirkaga Yegi, Anjile Ondre Pettan, Angai Kanda, Ayalar Uril, Anjile Ondrevaitan, Avanyamai, Alitikapan. You came back. Rama could give you only a heartfelt embrace, Parishwanga Bhavita. Then, after having accepted Vibhishana's Sharanagati, you did a Prayopavesham towards Samudra Raja, and towards that end you constructed the Setu, and after having constructed the Setu, you took all the Vanaras to Lanka Bhumi, fought Ravana, Malyavan, Indrajit. Agni Pariksha was performed, then you brought back Sita to Ayodhya. Ramam Ratnamaye Pithe Sasitam Sanyaveshayat Vasishto Vamadevascha Jabalihi Atakashyapah Katyayanaha Suyagyascha Gautamo Vijayasthata Abhyachanchannaravyāgar Prasannena Sugandhina Salilena Sahasraksham Vasavo Vasavam Yatha. In Krishna Avataram, you were born to Devaki and Vasudeva in Mathura. In one night you shifted from Mathura to Gokulam. You were raised as the son of Yashoda and Nandagopa. You were able to vanquish Putana Vadham, Shakatasura Bhanjanam, Trinavartavadham, Agha Pralamba Keshi Kapithavadam, Kalinga Nartanam, Govardhano Dharanam, Rasa Krida, Venuganam, Navanita Chauryam. After that Akrura Gamanam, you came back to Mathura, you were able to vanquish Kamsa. Then you made friends with your own cousins called the Panchapandavas. Draupadi became your best friend. When she was humiliated in the middle of the Hastinapura Sabha, she cried out your name. At that point in time, you came for protection, just not you. Your Namam came for your protection. Dheyas Sada Savitrimandala Madhyavarti Narayana Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha Keyuravan Makarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmaya Vapuhu Dhritashanka Chakraha Sri Dwarka Nilayachuta Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. To prove the words of that Govinda Namam, which was your Rinam, you said that I will ensure that there is an annihilation of the Rakshasas, the demons, the Asuras here in the form of Kauravas. You walked as a messenger of the Pandavas, you went to Hastinapuram, you refused to stay in the house of Bhishma, Drona, Duryodhana, but stayed in the hermitage of Vidura. And when the Yuddham was supposed to happen, you became the Sarathi to Partha. That is when Partha Sarathi, hey Krishna, to you Arjuna said, take the Ratham in the middle of the battlefield so that I can see both sides with equal eyes. When he had questions about Atma and Shariram, you explained Karma Jnana Bhakti Yogam Swadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhaktyeka Gocharaha Narayanaha Param Brahma Gita Shastre Samiritaha. At that point in time, Arjuna, Partha, Dhananjaya, Savyasachi, Gudakeshin, Vijaya, in the 11th Adhyayam called as the Ekadasha Adhyayam, which is the Vishwarupa Adhyayam, was able to see your Vishwarupam. Hey Krishna, this Vishwarupam was seen by Arjuna, by Bhishma, by Drona, by Sanjaya, through Sanjaya Dhritarashtra, but me, Narayana Bhattatri, seated in Guruvayur, is not able to have a glimpse of that Vishwarupam, he thought. For a moment, when he was thinking of this, a lotus petal like fingers touched and tapped on his shoulder. When he turned in the same Guruvayur Kshetram, he saw that Vishwarupam. As he saw, he wrote, Agre Pashyami Tejo Nibidatarakala Yavali Lobhaniyam Piyusha Plavitoham Tadanu Tadutare Divya Kaishoravesham Tarunya Rambharamyam Paramasukarasaswada Romanchi Tangaihi. Bhattatri says, when I see the Upanishads personifying as beautiful women and praising you, I get goosebumps. Romanchi Tangaihi Avitam Naradadhyaihi Vilasadupanishat Sundari Mandalaischa. Like how Bhattatri saw that Vishwarupam, Akrura too, when he went into the waters of Yamuna, saw that Vishwarupam. Namakaranamatsyaya Pralayabdhicharaya cha Hayashirshne Namastubhyam Madhukaitабhamrityave. Krishna, on one side, Vrindavanam was speaking in a melancholic voice, whereas there was mirth when you came to Mathura. They all welcomed Krishna. Swagatam Krishna Sharanagatam Krishna Madhura Puri Sadana Mruduvadana Madhusudana Iha Swagatam Krishna Sharanagatam Krishna. So Krishna was welcomed. This is a very important question that the author asks. Whenever we face a problem, some problem or the other there'll be in life. See, just because people have gathered here, we should not assume all lives are very rosy. There will be problems. And our Purva Janma Karma and Iha Janma Karma will be in loads. And we have to experience that. But whenever we experience a problem, it is a human mentality. How much ever we listen to Bhagavatam, how much ever I speak about Bhagavatam, there will be one question. Why me? Even when people say, when they have to talk about their families, they'll say, we are 4 sisters. The thing is, you always want to compare yourself with somebody else. But our acharyas have said, see, whenever you are suffering, compare yourself with somebody who has suffered more. See, Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada, such a genius, lived only for 32 years. Had he lived for 100 years, we would have got more granthams. He lived for 32 years. What does our existence benefit the world? Tell me. Our existence is beneficial in 10 ways to the world. We have to put those. The first point itself will be struggling. What? Nammalvar lived for 32 years. Ramanuja had to run from the tyrant Chola Raja. Vedanta Deshika had to hide himself in the dead corpses to escape Ullu Khan's army. They all suffered. Today we are celebrating them, we have a sannadhi for them. That doesn't mean their lives were very rosy. But the question is, why me? So Bhattatri in Narayaniyam also asks this. Well, he was suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. He asks the question, why me? Why should I suffer? I am having good, healthy lifestyle. Why should I suffer? Every now and then he will ask this question, why me, why me, why me? To that he gives an answer here. He says that the inhabitants of Mathura, they welcomed Krishna. They all came out of their houses, were holding a golden platter in their hands and said, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna. Krishna, you belong to our city. We should have celebrated you all these years. We lost the golden opportunity to celebrate you. Come in. Everyone came out, but one person didn't come out, it seems. He was sitting inside the house. Why should I welcome Krishna? Bhattadri says, I was that person. Because I didn't welcome you in Mathura that day, today I am suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. Which means, for whatever sufferings we undergo, we are the cause. Some way or the other. Just because we don't remember, we generally say, right, sir, why should I bear the brunt of my Purva Janma Karma? Correct? The Acharyas ask the other way. When you're enjoying, do you ask this question? You never ask, why am I so happy while others are sad? No, only when you're suffering. So if you have to be very honest, you should ask the question both the times. See, on the stage, I wish there is no distraction in the thought process. So if you have a child, please keep him behind. Tavannischita vaibhavastava vibho natyanta papa janaha yatkinchit tudate sma shaktyanugunam tambulamalyadikam grinhanna kusumadi kinchana tada marge nibaddhanjalihi atishtam bataha yatodya vipulam artim vrajami prabho. Artim vrajami, please remove the distress from me. See, when Krishna entered Mathura, all of them welcomed. There was something very unique. One lady who was an Aneka Vakra, she had lot of deformities. Some say she was Trivakra, some people say Aneka Vakra. Vishnu Puranam says one name. Anyways, she had deformities. So much so that she had a hunch. She had a hump behind. So she couldn't look up. The hunch was so prominent that she couldn't look up. As she would, her only assigned duty was to grind sandalwood paste. So it's a very easy job, you may think. I did that in Bombay for the place where I stayed, Deshika Sabha. For the Aradhanam, they said, go grind sandalwood. I saw they gave a stick and I started rubbing. Half an hour, not even 1 inch came. Our Brihaspati Swami, Budheri Swami asked, Dushyanth, where is the sandalwood paste? Nothing, half an hour, nothing came. He came, he was 95 years of age. He said, move. He did it in 2 minutes and he got it. So to grind sandal paste, we may think it's a very mean job, it is an easy job. That is also tough. While I was shooting for a movie that I had directed called Shakuntalam, there are 2 friends of Shakuntala called Priyamvada and Anasuya. So there was one scene where I had maximum recruited dancer friends of mine into the movie. Because I have always felt that dancers have a very easy way to emote. Because they learn the Navarasas, it is very easy for them. So I called 2 of my friends who were Priyamvada and Anasuya. There was one scene, I gave them lot of flowers and said, you have to string it into a garland. They said, we don't know. I said, then in the dance you do it, right? See, in dance they don't give us flowers. You have to do it like this. That is all we know. In reality, we don't know. So stringing flowers is also tough. So this lady used to grind the sandalwood paste and used to keep it in a bowl. And that used to be given to Kamsa. Nobody had the courage to even ask her to lend a little sandalwood paste. That said, when Krishna entered Mathura, he looked at that Kubja. Kubja means the hunchbacked woman. She couldn't look up. He said, Kubja, can you give me some sandalwood paste? She offered. The people of Mathura were surprised. She never gives even a bit of the sandalwood paste to anybody. How did she give? Because she used to listen to Kalakshepam, where they say that the one who has got lotus-like feet is Paramatma. She checked, she gave. Kubjam abjavilochanam patipunar drishtvangarage datte sadhu kilangaraga madadas tasya mahantam hridi chittasta mrudumatha matya prathaitum gatrepi tasya sputam grinhan manjukarena tamudayan tavad jagat sundarim. What Krishna did was he applied it on his chest. But there is a shastric problem here. If you are a brahmachari, you are not entitled for chandanam. A brahmachari, technically a person who is not married, can neither consume betel leaves nor can apply sandalwood paste as per Shastra. So in those days, these were the perks given. If you marry, you can apply sandalwood paste, marry. If you marry, you can eat betel leaves. But Krishna applied sandalwood paste. How? Because he was already married. That is where Harivamsham says that he was married to Neela. That Neela is Yashoda's brother's daughter. So it's called Neela Parinayam in Harivamsham. And she is referred to as Pinnai in the Tamil literature. She was a good Pinnai. Nal Pinnai is Nappinnai. That is why Andal invokes Nappinnai in the 18th, 19th and 20th Pasurams. Undu Madakalitran Vodada Tolvalian Nandagobalan Marumahale Nappinnai. குத்து விளக்கெரிய கோட்டுக்கால் கட்டில் மேல் மெத்தென்ற பஞ்ச சயனத்தின் மேலேறி கொத்தலர் பூங்குழல் நப்பின்னை கொங்கை மேல் வைத்து கிடந்த 33 அமரர்க்கு முன் சென்று கப்பம் தவிர்க்கும் கலியே துயிலழாய் செப்பமுடையாய் திரளுடையாய் செற்றார்க்கு வெப்பம் கொடுக்கும் விமலா துயிலழாய் செப்பெனமென்முலை செவ்வாய் சிறுமருங்குல் நப்பின்னை நங்காய் திருவே துயிலழாய். So in 3 pasurams Nappinai is invoked. So Krishna was married, so he applied the sandalwood on his chest. After applying the remaining Sesha Bhagam of that sandalwood, he applied in those places where the deformity was there for that Kubja. In Kerala, there is a treatment called Varmam. They will use their fingers and do. He did some Varmam. Tuk, 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 tuk. Tava Jagat Sundarim. She became Miss Universe. He says, Tamudayanan Tavad Jagat Sundarim. Immediately all the women, they started carrying sandalwood paste, Krishna. So, you must have seen in many of these chalachitrams, if the hero comes, immediately the villain will send one water lorry. In the middle, there will be 2 cutting Ravi, soda bottle, Segar. All of them, they will come. So all of them, they will come and attack the hero, and hero will win all of that. Same thing happens. There is one elephant called Kuvalaya Peedam. That comes, Krishna wins over Kuvalaya Peedam. Then come 2 WWF champions, Mushtika and Chanura. Krishna wins over them. Mushtika, Shura, Chanura, Malla, Malla, Visharada, Kuvalaya, Pita, Nardana, Kalinga, Nartana, Gokula, Rakshana, Sakala, Surakshana, Deva, Shishta, Janapala, Sankalpa, Kalpa, Kalpa, Shata, Koti, Asama, Parabhava, Dhira, Munijana, Vihara, Madana, Sukumara, Daitya Samhara Deva Madhura Madhura Rati Sarasa Sahasa Vraja Yuvati Janamanasa Pujita Swagatam Krishna. Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa. Kamsa is killed. See, all the killing process and all, I don't want to spend a lot of time. Ponaram, Parandaram, Tavinaram. Finally, he was killed. That's all. Generally, when we go for all these quiz competitions, they will give one book about Hinduism. There will be some book, I don't know who would have authored. Why did Krishna take Krishna Avataram? To kill Kamsa. See, to give the essence of the Upanishads called Bhagavad Gita, and becoming Gita Acharya was his purpose. To give the highest form of knowledge. That he wanted to be an Acharya and bestow us with that knowledge. That was his objective, not to kill Kamsa. He's one Jujubi. That is when I told you Krishna went and released his parents from the jail. The mother asked which school you have been to. Then he was put into Sandipani Ashramam. Gatva Sandipanim atha Chatushashtim matrairahobihi sarvajnastvam sahamusalina sarvavidya grihitva putram nashtam yamanilayanadakritam dakshinartham datva tasmai nijapuramaga nadayan panchajanyam. So he obtained knowledge of 64 arts in 64 days. See, this is something very surprising. Every art requires one lifetime. Sculpture, Nyaya Shastram, Mimamsa, Tarka Shastram, each of it is a separate subject. 64 arts he learnt in 64 days. What does it prove? He knew everything. Just like that, it was some refresher course. He just went there. Abhi, sabhi theek hai. Okay, fine. You know, if you've studied very well for the exam, if at all you've studied, then in the last minute you'll just go through, okay, Mendeleev's table, oh, metals, non-metals, metalloids, okay, atomic number, atomic weight, okay, lanthanides, actinides, okay, all this is over. But if you're seeing it for the first time, then Bhagavan should protect you. Ishvaro Rakshatu. That is why if you go, there is a kshetram very near Kadalur in Tamil Nadu called Thiruvahindrapuram. Phanipati Puranataha Pathumam Devanataha, says Vedanta Deshika. The Lord is Devanatha below giving moksham. Nobody will be there. Atop the hill is Hayagriva. Before the board exam, for 3 miles people will be standing. They will be having one dauber honey and one mala of cardamom. Why? Because your thermodynamics paper, he has to write. இது ஒன்றும் படிச்சிருக்காரு. அதில் உட்காந்து உட்காந்துருக்கும். அவர் போய் எழுதணும், பெருமாள் எழுதணும். நான் அவருக்கு எவ்வளோ தேன் கொடுத்தேன் தெரியுமா? குழந்தைக்கு மார்க்கே வரல. அது குழந்தை முதல்ல படிச்சிருக்கணும். See, in Sanatana Dharma, it is your efforts. Bhagavan will just supervise. If everything he will do, then why should we be there? அவரே பார்த்துப்பார் சார். We have to work. Our efforts should be there. Even for moksham, we should strive. That said, the tutelage was over. That is when the Uddhava Sambhavam came. I told you that Gishpati Putra, Brihaspati Putra was Uddhava. This Uddhava became very close friends to Krishna. He got that garvam that he had known Krishna very well. That is when Krishna dispatches Uddhava to Vrindavanam. And the love that the Gopika Stris showed towards Krishna, thinking that it was Krishna, it was not Krishna, it was Uddhava. That is when Uddhava sheds tears. He says, Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava kim shastraugaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu ityanandakulam Ityanandakulam upagatam gokulat uddhavam tam drishtva hristo gurupurapate pahi mama yaugat. So, he realizes that nobody can match the bhakti of the Gopika Stris. This is when I'm going to skip one portion and I'll come towards the end to that particular portion, which is Rukmini Kalyanam. Okay, that will come towards the end. Control X, Control V. I will do that Control V later. Imagine that Krishna is married to Rukmini and a child was born. Yastena pakritaf purvam sakatham vijaganatam etadvistarata shrotum ichhami sakalam guru. Vishnu Purana Vakyam. So the question raised by Maitreya to Parashara was, tell me that particular story where one was kidnapped and the one who was kidnapped killed the person who kidnapped him. This was the question. No names were mentioned. What is it? See, Krishna and Rukmini had a son. He was not even given a name. He was there in the cradle. One Puranam says less than 10 days. One Puranam says on the 6th day he was kidnapped by an Asura called Shambhara Asura. See, when we think of Rama Avataram, we know that Bhagavan as Rama, as Manushya, had to undergo a lot of problems. He was promised the kingdom, then he was said go to the forest. When he went to the forest, Sita was kidnapped by Viradha, then by Ravana. Then he had to fight for her, construct a setu, bring her back. Agni Pariksha was done. After that, there were accusations. Again, he had to send her to the forest. It was a life, a bumpy road. Whereas Krishna Avataram, we feel everything is good. You realize this. Because Krishna is a very, very, happy-go-lucky person. Happy-go-lucky person. Very, very cheerful person. We don't realize. The moment he was born, he was shifted from one mother to the other. When he was thinking that this is his mother, he had to go back to his original mother. When he was there in Mathura, attacked by Jarasandha many times. Then he went to Dwarka. When he married Rukmini, it was not a normal marriage. He had to fight for her. Then when the child was born, the child was kidnapped. So Krishna's life as Manushya Avataram also has so many ups and downs. But because Krishna is a very cheerful person, we don't realize that. So Krishna's child was kidnapped. His name was Pradyumna. So Pradyumna was kidnapped by Shambharasura. It is a very, very thrilling story. The child was thrown into the oceanic waters. A fish consumed the child. That very moment, the fish was caught by the fisherman. He took it to his kitchen. When he cut it open, the child was still managing to survive. That fisherman's daughter was watching this child. She nurtured him. She married him. Her name was Mayavati. Different Mayavati. So, Namama Rajatasyapi Jataragni Pradipitaha. So, now this boy, when he grew, he realized that the one who kidnapped him was Shambharasura. He kills Shambharasura and comes back to Dwarka. Now imagine Rukmini state. She lost her son long back. When the boy comes, he comes with the girl. Now in Krishna Avataram, Krishna's son and Krishna will alternately marry. But now we have seen Krishna's son. Now we are going to see Krishna's marriage again. So in Dwaraka, there lived a businessman. Asit satrajita suryo bhaktasya paramasakha pritastasmai manim pradat suryastushtasya mantakam asit satrajita suryaha. So I have told you that day. Did I tell you about Shaura belt? That sun belt. So you have Modhera temple in Gujarat. You have got Martanda Surya temple in Kashmir. You have got Multan temple in Pakistan. This is all sun belt. So in Gujarat, in the Shaura worship, sun worship, it was very prominent. Satrajit was a Surya worshipper. So being a Surya worshipper, while he mined, it is said Surya gave him, he got one money, one gem called as Syamantaka Mani. This Syamantaka Mani was a very special gem. The person who owned it, who is Satrajit, was ordained to worship the Syamantaka Mani every day. He had to do one archana. Next morning, he will see great things in his house. What were they? 8 bharas of gold will arrive. Famine, no famine, whatever happens, nothing will happen to his family. Serpents, poisonous snakes or scorpions will not visit his house. Mental worries will not be there. Body ailments will not be there. Please tell me, where is that Syamantaka? I will want one copy of it. Such a great gem it was. And his wealth kept on increasing. Last election he filed, it will be 500 crores assets. This election it will be 5,000 crores. So immediately Gujarat IT processing unit, Dwarka, they checked all the officials, they checked, ye kaisa ho sakta hai? That is when there were some investigative reports and some op-ed articles written in your newspapers. There are certain people who are meant only for writing op-ed articles about India. So, some of them wrote, it is believed that there is a priceless gem called Syamantaka in their house. Immediately, Gujarat government wrote one letter, Dwarka, in that facsimile letterhead. Krishna said, such precious things should be with the government treasury, give it back to us. Satyajit called for a press conference and he said, कृष्ण पूछ रहा है ये स्यमंतक, मैं नहीं दे सकता हूं, मैं साफ साफ बता दे रहा हूं, नहीं दे सकता हूं. It was a big headline. Krishna asks, Satyajit denies. Next day, Syamantaka money went missing. Krishna chor hai, Krishna chor hai. There was a Twitter campaign. Immediately Krishna said, see, when I really stole butter, nobody called me a robber. When I'm not doing it, they're calling me. What Krishna did was, he said, I need to keep me as a king blemishless. So he went into the forest. That is where he saw a dead body. Who was the dead body? That was the younger brother to Satyajit. He was lying dead. So there is something that must have occurred. Then he saw the horse on which the Satyajit's brother would have come. That was also lying dead, which meant that he escaped from his brother's house on the horse. Somebody must have killed him and the horse. Then he saw a lion close by. So the lion must have killed the both of them. Why? Because he must have taken the gem. From a distance, the gem must have looked like a piece of flesh. So lion must have attacked. So somebody must have killed the lion if lion is also dead. Then he went, traced the path. He went into a gufa, a cave. There he saw a beautiful woman. She was holding that Syamantakam. Oh, please give it to me, lady. No, I can't give it to you. My papa gave it to me, papa. Karadi comes. Yaar Karadi? T. Rajendran Jolapra. So comes Jambavan. Jambavan comes and Jambavan says, how dare you ask this from my daughter? And he starts fighting with Krishna. So there is a big Dvandva Yuddham between Krishna and the bear. It went on for a few days. Jambavan became tired. Then he realized from his yogic eyes that the person who is coming in front, standing in front of him is none but the one who constructed the Setu. He says, Yasyeshu sat kalita rosha katakshamokshair vatmadishat kshubita tannakriti timingilai lobdhi setu krita swayasha ujvalita cha lankam rakshashiramsi bhuvi petur ikshutani. The one who constructed the Setu is the one who is standing in front of me. Why should I fight with him? Krishna, this money is yours. You take it. Take my daughter also. So when Krishna arrived in Dwarka, he came with Jambavati. Then he called for a big press meet and he said, I hereby hand over the Syamantakam to Satyajit. Satyajit felt very bad. He said, I should have not accused you without any proof in my hands. You have Syamantakam and take my daughter Satyabhama. Krishna one avarka thedi. Jita hito jambavati nishevitas satatra satrajita satkrite manau svachaurya durvada mamarjajayat swayam na vidyate yasya na kinchidanvapi. So, as he married Jambavati, Satyabhama, one particular day, see, for Devaki and Vasudeva, no efforts in their life. Somebody will knock at their door. Devaki will go open. Ni yaar ma? Mami nanna Rukmini per seri va. And so in most of the marriages these days you get contractors. Now we have gone, see, in 1950s, 60s, there are many elderly people here. They will be able to relate. 1950s, 60s, to conduct a marriage was a task. Because the parents had to go buy the vegetables for cooking. It was not easy. There were no ready-made cooks. One big mandapam, to hire the mandapam, people wouldn't have money. So they will conduct it in the house itself. So they would buy vegetables, they would chop the vegetables, they would cook. So the number of attendees would be very little. 50, 60, 100, that's all. Simple marriage. Then in the 1980s, 90s, when we thought that our status was going slightly better, we were reaching a better economic strata, there came one Brahma Sthanam called contractor. You give the responsibility to him, he will arrange the vegetables, he will have cooks, he will arrange that mantapam. He won't do Mangalya Dharanam. That the boy has to do. So Everything else was arranged by the contractor. Now we have gone to the next level. It is called event management. In event management, you come up with a theme, you decide a logo, and எல்லாத்தையும் வழிச்சு கட்டிண்டு ஒரு த்வீபம் லங்கைக்கோ இங்கெல்லாம் சீதை அடைச்சி வச்சானோ அங்கே போய் எல்லாரையும் கூட்டிட்டு வாங்க சார், எங்கே போகிறோம் த்வீபம், இங்கேருந்து ஃப்ரம் இந்தியா the Adirasam will come through Grand Streets. That Adirasam, we have to FedEx it to that particular. எவ்வளோ பழசாக இருக்கும் பாருங்க. So we will go to that island, we will celebrate. Now in event management, the advantage is we don't have our own family members who are ready enough to volunteer and welcome the guests. So they will provide 7-8 people when in uniform. I went for one marriage, one lady said, please come, you welcome. I said, ma'am, I've never seen you. Even I have not seen you. நான் தான் உங்களை பார்த்ததில்லை. எனக்கு 2000 ரூபா கொடுத்துருக்கா, வாய முடின்னு உள்ளே போங்க. ரெடிமேட் தே வில் ஹேவ் ஒன் பன்னீரோ ஏதோ சாதாரண டிஸ்டில் வாட்டர் இப்படி தெளிச்சு போங்க சார் உள்ள. So in all these marriages, when you have too many samskaras to be done, harati has to be taken, kunkuma harati. So what they do is in 2 7-Up bottles they will keep that ready. There will be one mommy fixed for that. Mommy அப்படின்னா மாமி புஷ்ஷுன்னு வந்து அழுத்துவா. அப்போ உடனே வந்து அதுக்கு பாடுறதுக்கு, இப்போ என் கல்யாணம் நானே பாடிவிட்டேன், அந்த மாமிக்கெலாம் பாடத்தில்லை, நானே எனக்கே பாடி நானே எடுத்துக்கொண்டு. சரி, விஷயம் என்னென்னா, ஸோ தட் வென் யூ நாக் அட் த டோர் இன் துவாரகா, தேவகீல் சரி, நீ யாருமா, சரி என்ன 301 கொடுங்களே, அவ்வளோதான். எவ்ரி டே தேர் வில் பி ஒன் நியூ டாட்டர் இன் லா. Chandranana Bhaishmi Bama Jambavati Satyamitra. So one day, when Krishna was in the inner apartment, Shuddhatma, Antahpuram of Rukmini, Adhyana Vadya Charita Vrata Paranayam Tvatsannidhim Nidhimi Vidha Nidhimiva Dhiraharam Samihe Tvam swam manorathamivatta sabhajayami pativratir jagati yena sabhajayami. So at that point in time, Rukmini was there in that Anthapuram, Krishna was there. Narada Maharshi came. He came with a flower called Parijata Pushpam. What is the greatness of Parijata Pushpam? Srimanta Shankaradeva in Parijata Harana Kavyam says, its smell could be smelt as long as 6 kilometers, it seems. That I don't know, but he says, wealth and all will grow in a family. So Parijata Pushpam was the most wanted Pushpam. You will not get it that easily. So Narada brought this flower. Rukmini said, very nice smell, Narad. So Narada said, what will I do with this flower, ma'am? I thought I will give it to Krishna. Krishna, I am giving this flower to you. Give it to the person whom you love the most. Along with this, he said. Now, who was there next to him? Rukmini. If he doesn't give, then it will prove that he doesn't love Rukmini. So he said, Rukku, take it. Narada didn't stop here. He went to 302. Knocked at that door. Satyabhama opened. She said, Aye Narad Maharshi, kya khayenge? Undhiyo, chunda, fafda, khandvi, thepla. See, it's in Dwarka, right? That is when, how did they come to Dwarka? That is very interesting thing. See, I told you, I'll tell you Rukmini Kalyanam towards the end. There is a small part here. After Kamsa Vadham, Kamsa's wives became widows, Asti and Prapti. They were the daughters of Magadha Desha Raja Jarasandha. So Jarasandha didn't like Krishna, that's all. Now he started attacking Mathura every now and then. Krishna wanted to spare the life of Jarasandha because he thought Bhima should have some credit in his life. So every time Jarasandha would go defeated, but he was not killed. And every time after the attack, Mathura as a fortress became very weak. People were very tired. Every now and then there is a war. So that is when Krishna bought one island off the coast of Gujarat. So buying islands was there even in the past. So he bought one island. As he bought that island, he called Vishwakarma and said, you design for me. There should be good skylight, there should be good ventilation. So after the design, how did it look? The drone camera shot, Vedanta Deshika gives Prabhuta Ratna Dyutikesaram tat Pravala Patraugha Parita Parshvam Sthane Hare Rishtatamam Tadasit Sambhuti Rajivam Iva Indirayaha. It used to look like the seat of Indira. Who is Indira? Mahalakshmi. So the coral reefs around the island look like the petals of a newly blossomed lotus. The gem-studded skyscrapers in Dwarka look like the stamens of the flower. So overall, Dwarka looked like the seat of Mahalakshmi. Krishna, again it is magical. When Krishna wanted to ensure safety for his people, in one night he ensured that all the inhabitants of Mathura were shifted to Dwarka. They were sleeping. In Yoga Shakti, he transferred them. Next morning, the women got up, they saw that saris had changed. They wanted to open their mouth and ask, Kaise ho? It became Kemcho. One night, the entire culture changed. So they all came to Dwarka. So in Dwarka, Satyabhama in 302, she welcomed Narada. Narad, padhariye, tashrif rakhiye, farmaiye. That is when Narada said, see, I'm very upset, Bhama. Why, Narad? Because I went to 301, I gave the flower to Krishna, I told him, give it to the person whom you love the most. I thought he will give it to you. But he gave it to Rukmini. Poch. That is when Krishna came, she said, I don't want the flower. I want the tree. But tree cannot. So at around the same time, Indra came and complained that Indra's mother Aditi Devi's Kairasi Gopaldas diamond studs went missing. So she said, Indra, find my diamond studs for me. Varuna lost his umbrella, Maniparvatam lost its shikharam. When he came with the CCTV footages, it was spotted that a king called as Narakasura of Pragjyotishapuram was stealing it. So Indra said, Krishna, please help in fighting. I can't fight. I have all the power, but I will never fight. I don't know how to fight. You go and fight. So Krishna, as usual, being Karuna Kakutstha, Karuna Chakravarti, he said, I will go and fight. Vapusha bhakti namrena dhironnata mahiyasa shantavirad-bhutarasan samakrityeva sampatan yathastvam nagaradvare yadava danavaschatam tarasvi garudarudham satyamaikshanta tatshanam. Beautiful description. Krishna had to leave Dwaraka to Pragjyotishapura on Garuda Vahanam. But somebody had to guide Garuda. Garuda, go straight, take left. How will Garuda know? The GPS. What is the other thing you follow? Ways. How will he know the ways? So somebody had to be the ways for Garuda. That day the usual driver had gone on casual leave, CL. That is when Satyabhama said, I have got an international driving license. I will guide Garud. So she went and sat on Garuda and she started driving. The beauty of this shloka is, you have to understand poetry. Yathastvam nagaradvare yadava danavaschatam tatasvi garudarudham satyamaikshanta takshanam. When Garuda took off from Dwaraka, the Yadavas said bye. When Garuda landed in Pragjyotishapura, the Danavas said hi. Both of them said bye and hi at the same time, says the shlokam, which means the flight of Garuda was so fast. They said bye, hi at the same moment. This is how you say in poetry. Technically, there used to be 2 trains that used to depart from Chennai Central to Delhi. One was called Tamil Nadu Express. If you start this night, you will reach the day after tomorrow morning. But if you start in Grand Trunk Express, it was called GT. It will start, you don't know when you will reach. But Garuda is not like that. Garudam akhila veda needadirudam dvishat pidanot kantita kuntha vai kuntha piti kritaskandamide स्वनीडागतिः प्रीतरुद्रासु कीर्तिस्तनाभोगगाढोपगूढस्फुरत्कण्टकव्रात वेदव्यथा वेपमान द्विजिह्वादिपाकल्पविश्वार्यमाण स्फटावाटिकारत्नरोचिश्चटाराजि नीराजितं कान्तिकल्लोलि नीराजितं जय गरुड सुपर्ण दर्वीकराहार देवादिपाहार हारिन्दिवौकस्पतिक्षिप्त दम्बोळि धारा किणाकल्प कल्पान्त वातूल कल्पोदयानल्प वीरादिनोद्य चमत्कार दैत्यारि दैत्य ध्वजारोह निर्धारितोत्कर्ष संकर्षणात्मन् गरुत्मन् मरुत्पञ्चकादीश सत्यादिमूर्तेन कश्चित् समस्ते पुनस्ते नमस्ते नमः नम इदमजहत्स पर्याय पर्याय निर्यात पक्षानिलास्फालनोद्वेल पातोति वीचि चपेटाहतागाद पाताल भाङ्कार संक्रुद्ध नागेन्द्र पीडा श्रेणीभाव भास्वन्नक श्रेण ये चण्ड तुण्डाय नृत्यग्भुजङ्ग ब्रुवे वज्रिणे दंष्ट्रया तुभ्यमध्यात्म विद्या विधेया विधेया भवद्दास्यमापादयेतादयेताश्च मे मनुरनुगत पक्षि वक्त्रस्फुरत्तारकस्तावकश्चित्रभानु प्रिया शेखरस्त्रायतां नस्त्रिवर्गापवर्गः प्रसूतिः परव्योमधामन् बलद्वेषि दर्प ज्वलद्वालखिल्यः प्रतिज्ञावतीर्णस्थिरां तत्त्वबुद्धिं परां भक्तिदेनुं जगन्मूल कंदे मुकुंदे महानंद दोग्रीम अहीनाम अहीनाम अहीनांतका, says Vedanta Deshika. How Garuda flew. So here, as Garuda flew and landed, there was a fight between Krishna and Narakasura. Narakasura died. Now there is another geographical meaning, a geological meaning given to this. Naraka Asura. Narakasura's death we say is Deepavali. Now immediately there will be a question from your children. Why do we have to celebrate somebody's death? Right? So Narakasura's death doesn't become Naraka Chaturdashi. Naraka in Sanskritam means Nrinam Prapayati iti Narakaha. That day, that moment where something which is very pious, precious, auspicious, which is unattainable, reaches you very easily is called Naraka. It is said in Shastram that you should not store your drinking water for more than 24 hours. But the exception is Ganga. That is why we have Ganga Jalam in our house. Ganga can be stored for years together because it is believed Ganga is very pious, auspicious, Papa Nivarini. But Ganga is elsewhere. How can I take bath in Ganga on the day of Naraka Chaturdashi, that Amavasya morning? It is believed wherever Ganga is, she will come and land in our red color plastic bucket. So that is why on the day of Deepavali Amavasya, you ask whether Ganga Snanam is over. That day is called Naraka. So Narakasura is incidentally the name of that Asura. Naraka means the day where you do Ganga Snanam, not about we don't celebrate somebody's death. On the other hand, when Narakasura was killed, he had arrested and 16,100 women of varying ages for many, many years were languishing in the prisons of Pragjyotishapuram. We call this very sinful activity as trafficking. He had imprisoned so many women. Those women had no social security. They all came. Krishna said, do not worry. For the records, you will be my Patni. You will be given all comforts in Dwarka and you will lead your life. So now here, it is not a physical union or something that is lustful. In those days, see, we should not put the current day rules and laws and superimpose it on our past. If we believe Sita, who was married at the age of 6, others, Nappinai married at the age of 10, they were all illegal, then most of our grandparents and grandfathers' marriages will also be illegal. What rule applies now should not be superimposed then. As simple as that. So the women saw light in their life, hope in their life. So as a mark, as a sign of them receiving light, they started lighting lamps. They lighted lamps in a row. Avali. Avali means row. What did they light? Deepam. Deepasya avali. It is Deepavali. So the correct word in Sanskritam is Deepavali. This Diwali is not there in Sanskrita Shabdakosham. So it's Deepavali. Divi bhuvicha samidham deeparupena rudhais tribhuvana vibhavanam ankurai ekarupaihi janita nigama sakhyam danavinam vilapair naraka vadadhinam tannatha pujarham asit. We have many inscriptions in the last 2000 years across Bharatadesham where kings have granted money to temples for Deepotsavam called Deepavali. So it's a very old festival. Now Krishna went to Amaravati, which is Naidu illa. The other Amaravati, Indra's Amaravati. And what he did was he gave those studs, that umbrella, Mani Parvatam, everything to Indra. And that is when Satyabhama asked Shachi Devi, I would like to take one flower from your backyard. This ungrateful woman said, I will not offer one. That is when Garuda got very upset. He said, Bhagavan has fought for so much of cause, you are not able to give. He said, with his beaks, I will pluck the entire tree. The entire tree was plucked. Alvar says, Yennadan Devikku andru innappu iyadal tannadan kanave tanpu marathinai vannada pullal valiya parittitta yennadan vanmayai paadipara embiran vanmayai paadipara. The tree was uprooted and placed in the backyard of Satyabhama. But, you know, I'm telling you with my experience in Bengaluru. Bengaluru is a nice city. Okay. And once we used to have trees. So, even now people as a dampati in the morning at about 5 o'clock, they will leave their houses to take a walk because their dietitian would have said 10,000 steps that I fit bit eல்லாம் போட்டு நடங்கோ. So, then they will come back, have that, and the artist சாப்பாடு quinoa. So they'll take walk. And many of them will carry bags along. You may be wondering why. Because they will pluck flowers from somebody else's house. Their bhakti is so high. Why? Other Bhagavatottamas can offer flower for my Aradhana. So this tree was planted in Satyabhama's backyard. But the beauty is all the flowers used to fall in Rukmini's backyard. So this was Parijata Apaharanam. Then there is another place where Pradyumna had a son called Aniruddha. This Aniruddha, he was not into music composing. So he is normal Aniruddha. So non-beep Aniruddha. So this Aniruddha, while he lived, there was another Asura called Bana. Banasura had a daughter called Usha. She didn't know stitching though her name was Usha. Anyways, so in his Rajyam, in Banasura Rajyam, Banasura was a Shiva Bhakta. Shiva came along with Parvati. There was a beautiful guest house constructed. So he said, Shivji or Parvati ji, idhar rahiye. So every day Shiva and Parvati used to go. They used to buy lot of things and they used to come. That is when Usha felt, if even I was married, I could also buy. She observed a vratam to Parvati. Tatas sakala chittagnya gaurita maha bhaminim alamarthyatya papena bhartra tvamapi ramsyase vaishaka shukla dvadashyam swapne yobhibhavam tava karishyati sa te bharta rajaputri bhavishyati. So at that point in time, she observed a vratam to Parvati and Parvati appeared and said, see, one particular night you will see a yuva in your dream. He will be your fiancé, would be. She waited for that night. She dreamt of that man and she saw that man. Immediately she called her friend Chitralekha. Chitralekha was very good in drawing. Picasso, all that software she used to draw. So immediately she was called and Usha said, his eyes are like this, nose is like this. So after that, they took the printout and went to Banasura archives, one library. So they took Yadukulam register. Vasudeva's photo came. Next page, Vasudeva, Krishna came. Oh, this man is too handsome, not like him. PTO. Inge PTO cholvada vera edadva. Please turn over kadeyadenge. They don't know what is PTO. Or it will be different. TPO edad irukum. Ninga vera vadi edad oor olagatodi othudeka maattal. Vera edho sollu. So he turned. In that was the picture of Pradyumna. She said, okay, like him, but not exactly him. Next page, Aniruddha came. Ye hi wo aadmi hai. Chitralekha was also extremely talented in kidnapping. So she went to Dwarka. She kidnapped Aniruddha on his single cot and brought him to Usha's bedroom. And Usha, when she rested and she turned, she saw Aniruddha.
And Aniruddha and Usha, as usual, went around the tree. They started moving. You know all this, Kabhi, Kabhi, all of that happened. Now the Dwarapalakas who were stationed outside that particular Anthapuram, they saw through the keyhole their Rajakumari was with some other boy. They went and complained to Banasura. Banasura said, arrest that man immediately. They came to arrest. Usha said, inko arrest karenge to mujhe bhi kijiye. So both of them were put in the same cell. And immediately next day newspaper, Times of Dwarka, Krishna's grandson Aniruddha arrested on charges IPC 403, 404, 408, 410. Krishna told Rukmini, enna na pannada tappiya pair pannipta. Ellam pottu. So Krishna went along with an army to fight Banasura. It was a huge battle. Krishna managed to spare 4 hands of Banasura so that he could play the mridangam for Shiva's Tandavam. He brought Usha home. Reception was hosted. Big wedding in Bandra Kurla complex. So, ho gaya. Now this is Usha Parinayam. See, I cannot go into... Now I have to tell you something very special about this Usha Parinayam. See, this is a marriage between Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha, and Banasura's daughter. It is not Krishna's marriage. But you believe me, 100 years back in the Travancore library, in Thiruvananthapuram library in Kerala, while they were cleaning the manuscripts which were useless, which were affected by termites, they found one bunch. It was a work written many 100 or 1000 years ago in Prakritam, in the language Prakritam, about the marriage between Usha and Aniruddha. It's called Usha and Aniruddha in Prakritam. I will read 2 verses as a sample. Dittammi kanne didda koyyalla pannu jayye pannamalla tanna ditti aha niruddhe pulasayya sa najja manno nayyam vannam nammeyi pajjunninna bannayi techaravo kavvam tujja vithanena na kanassa pottam samarrammi jayyam siggam siyalo navva pattase kim. This is Prakritam. So Jina Granthas in those days used to be written in Prakritam. Women used to speak in Prakritam. Pali is another language deployed by Buddhists. Attihi bikko akadayam nattuye tasya jantuno sattam manasa sunna rattanam sampajjayi. This is Pali. So Pali, Prakritam, Sanskritam, all of them survived at the same point in time. When everything was settled, that is when in the city of Porbandar, today we call it Porbandar, there was Krishna's childhood tutelage friend called as Sudama. We do not know if his exact name was Sudama. Some people say Sudama, some people say Kuchela. Chela means vastram. Ku, whenever you add the prefix ku, it means something very bad or poor. Tapam, Kutapakalam. We say when the earth is very hot, it is called Kutapakalam. When Shiva gave birth to a particular graham, he was born out of Shiva's sweat. In this naturopathy and all, they say if you sweat, the toxins will go. But as per Shastram, sweat is a sign of poverty. That's what they say. So when he was born from the sweat of Shiva, the birth was not very superior. Something which is inferior. Kuja. So he is called Kuja. Shivai, Mars is called Kuja. Ravi, Shashi, Kuja, Buddha, Shukra, Shanaishchara, Kuja. So Chela is Vastram. This man did not have one strand of cloth to cover him. And wherever there are cuts, he used to put some other cloth and do the patchwork. That was regarded as a sign of poverty. Today it is designer. Savyasachi lives that way throughout his life. So since he wore such clothes, he was called Kuchela. Yadrichayopapannena vartamano grihashrami tasya bharya kuchailasya kshukshama cha tatha vidha. He had many children. They say 27 or something. He had many children. The children wanted to live in comforts. The father couldn't provide. When the children complained to the mother Sushila is believed to be her name. She went and complained to Kuchela. She said, see, Sakshat Sriyapati, your best friend is the World Bank. And you are suffering. Go ask for some money. Kuchela said, see, I don't have the habit of asking at all. I have never known how to ask. But you have produced 27 children. Go ask. So how will I ask? What will I carry? She borrowed some poha from the neighboring house. Pangajam Mami kitten mind. In his Angavastram it was tied. And he walked all the way from his place to Dwarka. He crossed the bridge, went into that island. Dwarapalaka said, where is your pass? Where is your visa? I am the childhood friend. Go tell Krishna. These Rakshakas casually went and told Krishna, some man, dirty man, poorly clad man called as Kuchela has come. Kuchela has come. Krishna went running, welcomed him, took him all the way on the gold gilded stairs, made him sit on the Simhasanam, called Rukmini and said, fan him. Immediately he washed his feet, Argyam, Padyam, Machamaniyam, everything was done, given the best of food, sumptuous lunch, lavish spread, whatever you want you'll get. After that, he was taken to a room, given proper rest. Then Kuchela came and then Krishna said, what have you brought for me? Krishna, I don't know whether even I can show that to you. I have brought poha. Wow, I like only poha. Give me that poha. He took one handful of poha. He put that into his mouth. Second fistful he took, Rukmini came and said, see, last week we went for the checkup. Doctor said, mat lijiye, you're already on drugs. Don't Kanhaiya. She stopped. So Krishna got the hint and he stopped. Even now, Kuchela did not ask. Kuchela went home. When he went to the street where his house was, there was some other palace there. Some lady very well dressed, very well decked in jewelry was standing outside. He went and asked, Namaskaram Mami. Sushila va paatela. Enna nana Sushila. Yendi munnadi nanna irundiye. See, what happens in many marriages, I give lectures in a year. They will tell me in advance, for our marriage, you please come and give the lecture. I agree. 2 months before the marriage, they will call for a Zoom session. That girl and the boy will come. They want to know, everybody wants to know about the rituals, what we are actually doing, all of that. Did we ask that when we did titration? Burettium, pipettium, potti pudi, ipdi tirigi phenolphthalein pottu vanga kadal kada inta madhavane kesha. But everybody wants to know about rituals. I need to know what we are actually undergoing. So 2 months before I will sit for a Zoom session, I will tell the girl and boy, they look very good. But somehow on the day of marriage, they'll spend hundreds of dollars to... So now the point is, அப்படியே இருந்தா நன்னா இருக்குமோ நன்னா இருக்கும்னு தோணும். அதில் வேற அலங்காரம் பண்ணி இங்கே இதெல்லாம் போட்டு ஏன் why? So Sushila was standing. ஏண்டி நன்னா இருந்தியே குழந்தைகள்லாம் எங்க? They were all wearing Naidu Hall clothes. Then Kuchela asked, what happened to our house? What happened to you? What happened? Swami, at 12:45, I was grinding togayal. What is togayal in ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚಟ್ನಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಚಟ್ನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲಿಕ್ವಿಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ತೊಗಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ತೆಲುಗುలో ఏం చెప్తారు? పచ్చడి. అప్ప తమిళ్లో పచ్చడి వేరే, ఇది పచ్చడి వేరే. సరే ఏదో. ఓకే. So she was grinding. She said, Swami, while I was grinding the chutney, it became ninja. I was using something else that became Insta. That is when Kuchela wondered at 12:45 exactly, when Krishna consumed his grace, even without me asking, he has given us. See, we often say, right, plead to Bhagavan, ask him. It's technically a bit wrong because he's Sarvagnya. He knows what is, but we still feel if we... But he's Sarvagnya. If he's not giving it for a reason. If he's giving it for a reason. That should be bhakti. That is the highest form of bhakti. But when we undergo a problem, we may not have that maturity at that point in time. That is different. Now this is Kuchelopakhyanam. Now, getting back to the portion of Rukmini Kalyanam. In a place called Vidarbha, there is some confusion there. Some people say Assam or something, but what I have heard from my acharyas, Vidarbha is Maharashtra. Vidarbha region, around Nagpur. See, every language has its own dialects, and see, I've understood, probably you can correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard that even when the English language is spoken in the US of A, there is one accent in the East Coast, there is one in the West Coast. Texas, there is one particular accent. Likewise, if you take Bharatiya languages, which are even more older, you will naturally have. So if you go to Coimbatore, Kongu state, anybody from Coimbatore and other regions, there is one particular language in which they talk. So, there is that style. I go to Coimbatore very often. So for me, initially it was very different. Now I know. If you go to Madurai and Tirunelveli, yala vale. So, that is that style. And Chennai. நீங்க குந்து ஐயோபா என்னப்பா இது எந்த சங்கத்தமிழில் உள்ளதா வார்த்தை குந்து என்பது சங்கத்தமிழ்லாம் இல்லை சார் வாயா so see Chennai people are pure Vedantins. They say Atma is Nityam. Why should we offer respect? So they say no respect at all. So if you go to Bengaluru, there is one Kannada. If you go to Mangalore, that is a different Kannada. It will come with a certain mix. You need that experience to understand. If you go to Hubbali, Dharwad, Davanagere, there will be a different Kannada. You go to Kerala, it's a thin strip of state. If you go to Thrissur, it will be very musical. ഒരുപാട് ഒരു മ്യൂസിക്കലായിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് മലയാളം, തൃശ്ശൂരിൻ്റെ മലയാളം. മലപ്പുറം കഴിച്ചിട്ട് എൻ്റെ ഉമ്മച്ചി, അതാണ് ആ മലയാളം. യു ഗോ ഓൾ ദ വേ ടു പാലക്കാട്. ഫോർ തമിലിയൻസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് മലയാളം. ഫോർ മലയാളീസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് തമിഴ്. கடவுள் பாதி மிருகம் பாதி, அது அந்த மாதிரி இது. பியூட்டிஃபுல். இஃப் யூ கோ தேர், தேர் இஸ் ஒன் கன்னடா விச் கம்ஸ் வித் அ மிக்ஸ் ஆஃப் தமிழ். ಒಂಚೂರು ಕಾಪಿ ಕುಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪೋಂಗೋ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಲಿ ಆಡ್ದಿಲ್ಲೇಮ್ಮ, ಏನು ಶೋಲ್ಡ್ರಿಕಾವಾ ಎತ್ನೇವಾ ಅವ ವರ್ದಿಲ್ಲೇಮ್ಮ ಬಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪೋನಾಳವಾ ಏನ್ಮಾ ನೀನು ಬಿಡಿ ಶೋಲ್ಡ್ರೆ ನಿನ್ನೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ತಮಿಳ್. ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ತಿರುವನಂತಪುರಂ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ. ಸಿ ವೆಲ್ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಬಾಂಬೆ, ಪೀಪಲ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಮೈ ಹಿಂದಿ ವಾಸ್ ಗುಡ್. ವೆನ್ ಐ went to Delhi, they said, this is not even Hindi. Mujhko jana hai, tujhko pata hai, apan ko kya dena hai. They'll say, what Hindi is this? So see, every language, you go to Andhra, Godavari district and Vijayawada and all of that, pure Telugu. You go to Hyderabad, there'll be little Urdu, there'll be little Kannada, everything will be mixture. Similarly, in Sanskritam, the purest form of Sanskritam was spoken in Vidarbha. It was called Vaidarbhi. And when women thought that they had to struggle and strive a lot to speak in pure Sanskritam and they spoke Prakritam, there was one lady who broke all those trends. Her name was Rukmini. She said, why should I speak Prakritam? I can give competition to any scholar, and she spoke only in Sanskritam. Such a beautiful princess of Vidarbha had 5 useless brothers. Rukmi, Rukmaratha, Rukmabahu, Rukmakesha, Rukmamali. How was she? Shikhandakam nishpratimam shrutinam shringara lilopama vishwakrityam adhiyate tan mithunam swabhava anyonya jivadumananya bhogyam. Her eyes, see, in all our kavyas, they will start describing the woman's eyes, nose. In a kavyam called Shishupala Vadham. Can anybody tell me who wrote Shishupala Vadham? Who wrote Shishupala Vadham? See, we should understand the kavyams. Why have they written? We should get exposure. At least read the translations. It is okay. No problem. Upama Kalidasasya. Kalidasa gave us 6 prominent works. 3 of them were poetries. Raghuvamsham, Kumara Sambhavam, Meghadutam. He gave us 3 plays, Natakams, Abhignana Shakuntalam, Vikrama Urvashiyam, Malavikagnimitram. 3. Then there are few other works that are attributed to him, not completely genuinely him, like Ritu Samharam, Shringara Tilakam, and so on. Bharavi gave us a work called as Kiratarjuniyam. Shriyah Kurunam Adhipasya Palinim Yama Prajasukamam Yamayuntaveditum. I don't know the second line. So it's a beautiful work called Kiratarjuniyam. Magha gave us a work called as Shishupala Vadham. It's a beautiful kavyam. Magha's Shishupala Vadham. There is another work called as Naishadham by Sri Harsha. Very tough work, beautiful work about Nala and Damayanti. That's called Naishadham. So in Shishupala-vadham, when Saraswati is being described, Magha will say how beautiful are her eyebrows. Because the eyebrow has to go up, come down. The second one has to go up and come down. And it is believed in Lakshana Shastram, for the most handsome man and beautiful woman, there will be hair growth between the two. So it becomes like a bow, right? So when the woman pushes her eyes left or right, it feels as if the arrows are moving from the bow. Villai otta puruvattal. Madurayil paranda மீன் கொடியை உன் கண்களில் கண்டேனே, போரில் புதுமைகள் புரிந்த சேரன் வில்லை உன் புருவத்தில் கண்டேனே, தஞ்சையில் பறந்த புலிக்கொடியை உன் பெண்மையில் கண்டேனே, says the poet. See, earlier they used to read Kavyam and used to write. Now I don't have to kannum Nokia. நீ கொள்ளை கொள்ளும் மாஃபியா, கேப்பச்சினோ காஃபியா, சோஃபியா. இவ்வளோதான். என்ன நான் தமிழ் படிக்கணும்னு சொல்லுங்க. மாஃபியா, சோஃபியா, சோனியா, ராகுல்னு எழுதிவிட்டா. So, Saraswati's eyes were so beautiful, says Magha. Similarly, were the eyes of Rukmini. It looked like Akara, Ukara, Makaram. It looked like Pranavam. Omkaram looked her brows. Her eyes were so large. Gambhiramba samudbhuta sumrishtanala ravikara vikasita pundarikadala amala ayatekshanaha kariyavagi pudai parandu milirundu shavvariyodi neendava periyavai kangal. The eyes should extend till the ears, it seems. So, she looked so pretty. Her hair tresses, Vedavale vihitassthitam tam ramya pratanamiva ratnavalli. So she had the Trijata. Trijata was her. She had Triveni. She had plaited it so well. It was so effervescent, glistening, dark. Her nails, they looked as if pomegranate seeds were attached or rubies were attached. Naturally pinkish red. See, every part, how she was, her conch. See, Kambuk Grivam, we call it in Sanskritam. We believe that this is a conch-shaped neck for the man and the woman. It is believed when you push your neck upwards, you will see something very sharp. So we believe it's a conch. It truly isn't a conch. In literature terms, it is like a conch, as sharp as a conch. That is why most of the people who end up, being those petty criminals, they would have listened to this. Sanga arutruve. Solra parunga, evlo vishayam kettirukka, nalla vishaya gnani ella. Tarunya nadyastanu vichi kalpe tadbhrullate shanganidanadirshye ananga veda pranavasya ratya lekhaksharam nyastyamasuchataetam. So, she was very pretty. How pretty was she? In Lakshmi Sahasram, there is another shlokam. Hantarastamasa mudanti kamale dantamudam tavakaha. Her arms used to turn red. It looked like rashes. Why? Because with the movement of the bangles. Why? Because she used to nurture a parrot. And she used to hold the parrot. And the parrot used to look at her. And for a moment, when her reddish lips used to reflect on the white teeth, those white teeth used to look like pomegranate seeds. So the parrot for an instant would think they are pomegranate seeds and would rush to pick at them. That is when she would stop and say, oh, no, they are not pomegranate seeds, they are my teeth. So in this due process of going to and fro, her bangles would cause the rashes. Hantarastamasa mudanti kamale danta mudam tavakaha. Our poets had all the time on this earth. 1008 verses, they will sit and write on this. So Rukmini was so pretty. She had never seen Krishna. But people who would visit Krishna would go via Nagpur and they would sing praises of Krishna. They used to praise Krishna. So she has only heard about Krishna. She has never seen Krishna. She developed feelings for him. She fell in love with him. So she used to think there used to be a peacock feather flute and she used to draw all that on her walls and she used to keep looking at it. Meanwhile, this Rukmi, the eldest brother, joined a gymkhana. And in that gymkhana were two existing members called Jarasandha and Shishupala. So Rukmi expressed his anguish that my sister is not married. Jarasandha said, why should you worry? You have got an eligible son-in-law here. Who is he? Shishupala. So take Shishupala. Without consulting anybody, he went to Menaka cards and printed. She Shishupal weds B Rukmini. All of you are invited. So these invitations were sent. Rukmini did not know. Her friends came and informed, congratulations, Rukmini. You're getting married. To whom? Shishupala. Ayya, and Asarodiya. Yarpa, Tanyave Kalame Adoda Kurtu. So they said, congratulations, we have been asked to assist you in getting yourself ready for the event. The day. What was the day? That day. Sayankalam was engagement. Bharat. Rukmini's engagement Bharat happened with Shishupala. Remember this. If later when Pradyumna asked his mother, Rukmini, show your marriage register album, first 4 pages, the son-in-law was Shishupala. Then in the 5th page, the son-in-law will change. Kannalangoditu kannidannai kaipidippan thinnarndirunda Shishupalan tante shadindu annarndirukkave aangavalai kaipiditha kanalan, says Andal. So Rukmini knew that she had to marry this man. As Shishupala says, smile Rukmini, she was not at all interested in this man. She came and she wrote a letter. She folded that letter and she sent it to a Dvija. She said, come here, Brahmana, take this to Dwarka. I have kept one ratham ready. Illa mami, adu vandu katti pesadinga, meduva pesu. Kootundu Dwarka ku poidunga. Adula enna ezhudirukku? You don't bother about what is there in the letter. You go give it to Krishna. This Brahmana took that letter on the chariot. The chariot landed in Dwarka. He went to Krishna's Anthapuram and gave it to Krishna. Krishna opened the letter. The first word was enough to decide the tone of the letter. It was a love letter. கண்ணே என் ஆரமுதே என் உள்ளம் கவர்ந்த மானே உன்னையே நினைத்துக் கொண்டு நான் வாடுகிறேன் பார்த்தாயா அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு லெட்டர். ஸ்ருத்வா குணான் புவன சுந்தர ஸ்ருண்வதாந்தே நிர்விஷ்ய கர்ண விவரைஹி ஹரதோங்க தாபம் ரூபம் திருஷாம் திருஷிமதாம் அகிலார்த்தலாபம். ஸ்ருத்வா குணான் புவன சுந்தர. ஸ்ருத்வா, Krishna, I have only heard about you. I have never seen you. Shrutva Gunan. I have heard about your qualities. Krishna says, Rukmini, people accuse me that I am a liar. I utter lies. I steal. I dance. People say all these accusations against me. They say I have doshams. I have only blemishes. And you are saying I have got gunam. Krishna, you are very weak in Sanskritam. Shrutva agunan. I have heard only your agunam, not gunam. Then I fell in love with it. அவரையே உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்க எப்படி சிகரெட் பிடிக்கிறார் தெரியுமா? Shrutva agunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante. I fell in love. Shrutva agunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante. Dhanush says, பார்த்தா பிடிக்காது பார்க்க பார்க்க பிடிக்கும். Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante nirvishya karna vivaraihi haratonga tapam. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara. Shrutva gunan sundara. You are very handsome. When Krishna was very young and handsome, Yashoda felt that people were showing their evil eyes on him, buri nazar. So she used to strip him of all the jewelry and used to take some wild forest products. Chitra kalpa shravasi kalayan langali karnapuram barhotamsam spurida chikuro bandhujeevam dadanaha gunja abadha murasi lalitam dharayan harayashtim gopastrinam jayati kitavaha kopi kaumarahari. She used to put some forest products on him to bring his beauty down. When she decorated him and turned, then she realized, Shrutva Gunan Vana Sundara. He became Sundara of the Vana products as well. Then she stripped him of all this and put those pearls and corals back. Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatante Nirvishya Karna Vivaraihi Haratongatapam Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akhilarthalabham Tvayachyuta Vishati Chittam Apatrapam me. Krishna, I've been thinking of you, but I've been engaged to this useless man. Can't you come and release me of his clutches? That itself will be a big relief for me. Katva Mukunda Mahati Kulashila Rupa Vidya Vayodravina Dhama Bhiratma Tulyam Dhira Patim Kulavatina Vrinita Kanya Kale Nrisimha Naraloka Manobhiramam Kale Nrisimha Kale Nrisimha. People say that you are the lion amongst men. When that little boy called Prahlada said, Sarvatra asti sada asti, you emerge from the pillar. When this Rukmini says, why can't you emerge from this letter? Kanya kale nrisimhanara lokamano bhiramam. Krishna, I've always been thinking that I've been engaged to you, married to you, and now they are telling me, giving me this shocking news that I have to marry this Shishupala. When something has been placed for a lion, just because the lion cannot be found, can that be given to a stray animal? Are they the same? I am meant for you, not for this animal called as Shishupala. Tanme bhavan khalu vritaf patirangajayam atmarpitascha bhavatotra vibho videhi ma veera bhagam abhimarshatu chaidya arat goma yuvan mrigapater baliram bujaksha. You may be asking, what have you done to reach Paramatma, who is me, Krishna? I will tell you. Purteshta dattaniyamavrata deva vipragurvarchanadi bhiralam bhagavan paresha aradhito yadi gadagrajam aityapanim grinhatu mena damagosha sutadayonye. All my austerities and tapasya is to reach you and not this person called Shishupala. You may ask, Rukmini, when you've been engaged to him, there is very little time. How can I reach you, and what rule allows me to come? Shvobha vinitvam vadahe vidarbhan gupta sametya prithanapati bhiparitaha nirmathya chaidya madagendra balam prasahya mam rakshasena vidhinodvaha virya shulkam rakshasena vidhi. Of the 8 approved marriages in Dharma, there is one marriage called Rakshasa Vidhi, Krishna. In that the girl will like the boy will like the girl, but the girl's side will not like the boy. With the girl's anumati, you can come and take Maya Rakshasena Vidhi. Deploy that particular Vidhi and take me. Krishna, you may ask, where should I come? Antaf Purantarachani Manihatya Bandhum Tvamudvahe Kathamiti Pravadam Upayam Purvedyurasti Mahati Kuladevi Yatra Yasyam Bahirnavavadhu Girijam Upeyat. It is a custom in our family, prior to the marriage, the bride has to go and seek the blessings of Parvati, Girija Devi above the hill. When I go there, you come there. Rukmini, what if, despite you asking me to come through Rakshasa Vidhi to the Girija temple, I am not able to come? What can I do, Rukmini? Yasyangri pankajarajaznapanam mahanto vanchantyuma patirivatmatapopahatyayarhyam bujakshana labheya bhavat prasadam jakyama sunvrata krishanchata janma bhisya. Don't think you can escape from me. 100 janmas I will chase and marry you. Come this time. So the next, now Krishna read this letter. He knew the gravity of the situation. This Brahmana did not know. So Krishna took in his chariot and went. Shaibya, Sugriva, Meghapushpa, Balahaka. 4 horses they went at a greatest speed from Dwarka to Vidarbha Desham. That next day morning, 9 o'clock was the Muhurtam. Morning 6 o'clock, news reached that Krishna has reached the outskirts of Vidarbha. Rukmi wondered he was not in the guest list. Bhishmaka, on the other hand, when he realized that Krishna has entered, took Madhuparkam, milk, honey and fruits, and welcomed Krishna, unaware that in samskara you generally do it only to the son-in-law. So Rukmini was worried, when will Krishna come? 9 o'clock was the Muhurtam. All TV cameras were fixed, live coverage. Rukmini avargal, vandu vittargal, ulle poi vittargal, solli vittargal. Because to be a part of the Tamil channel, you should not have good pronunciation. ழா வரப்படாது, நா வரப்படாது, ழா வரப்படாது. கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள், சொல்லுங்கள், எழுவது, என்பது, கொலம்பு, தமிழை நாங்கள் காப்போம். தமிழ் தூக்குல தொங்கும். தொங்கிவிட்டது தமிழ். ழா வரல, ழா வரல, நா வரல, தமிழை காப்போம். சரி, காப்புக்கு 200 ரூபாய் வாங்கிக்கோ. So, now, 9 o'clock was the Muhurtam. Rukmini went to Girija temple, 8:30. She went and prayed to Parvati. Parvati, send your brother. Sindhura Runa Vigraham Trinayana Manikka Mauli Spurattara Nayaka Shekaram Smitamukim Apina Vakshoruham Panibhyam Manipurna Ratna Chasakam Raktotpalam Bhibratim Saumyam Ratna Ghatastarakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam Arunam Taruna Tarangitakshim Dritapashankusha Pushpabana Chapam Animari Bhira Vritam Mayukhairaham Ityeva Vibhavaye Bhavani Dhyayet Padmasanastam Vikasita Padanam Padmapatra Yatakshim Hema Bham Pita Vastram Karikalilasat Hema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankara Yuktam Satadamabhayatam Bhaktanamram Bhavanim Shri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakunkuma Vilepanam Anika Chumbikasturikam Samantahasitekshanam Sacharacha Papa Shankusham Asesha Janamohini Marunamalya Bhushambaram Japa Kusuma Basuram Japa Vidausmaretambikam. As she prayed and got out of the temple, it was 8:50. Not a single sign that Krishna was to come. In 10 minutes, she'll be married to Shishupala. People said, come down. Rukmini, come down, it's time. Rukmini was very doubtful. She was not knowing if Krishna has got the message, whether he has come, whether he will come now. She said, let's go down. But she wanted to just check if Krishna could come. She turned towards the horizon where the sky and the earth meets. She saw some small object-like thing emerging. She wanted to double check, so she corrected her hair and checked Drishya Achyuta. She saw Achyuta there. But she wanted to be sure if it is Achyuta. That is when, as the chariot was approaching, the Vakyam says, Tulasi Gandham Panchajanyasya Nadaha. There was the sound of the conch and the smell of Tulasi. As that Ratham was approaching, she had never seen Krishna before. It was as if she is seeing that beautiful black diamond in front of her, who was seated on the chariot and was extending his arms like the bees that hover around a blossoming lotus flower. Her eyes went around Krishna and Krishna extended his hand. So did she. As she extended, she was pulled into the chariot. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. Nanda Nandana Mashrita Brinda Brindaraka Vandyam Nandita Narayana Tirtha Nandadam Ananda Kandam Alokaye Rukmini Kalyana Gopalam. So she was pulled into the chariot. She said, thanks all Sairandrika Stris for offering me such good services. She proposed vote of thanks and she left. There Shishupala, who was shaving, asked, and then Allah readiya, the Rakshaka said, Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Gone. That's all. So then she went to Dwarka. Devaki and Vasudeva welcomed, and that is when we have a series of shlokas about the Vaidika Vivaham that happened between Krishna and Rukmini. Kalyana Gopalam Karunalavalam माल्यालङ्कृतमीडे मदन गोपालं कल्याणगोपालं करुणालवालं. So there was this celestial marriage, very regarded, Rukmini Vivaham with Krishna. One day, Rukmini and Krishna, while they were together, Krishna went and vomited. Rukmini said, "Neenga edukku vaanthi edukre?" So that is when he said, see, there is one devotee who offered very old food yesterday. Nobody was ready to consume that food. He said, instead of putting it on earth, let me invoke Krishna. Krishnaya. He gave me that old food. You know, Rukmini, my devotees, whatever, in whichever condition they offer, I accept. After having consumed that stale food, I had stomach upset. So Krishna, what do you imply? Whatever my devotees offer, I don't see any dosham in it, Rukmini. Whatever they are, I accept them as is. They are all my children. குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை கண்ணா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை கோவிந்தா. கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நின்றாலும் எனக்கு குறை ஒன்றுமில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. வேண்டியதை தந்திட வெங்கடேசன் நின்றிருக்க, வேண்டியது வேறில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா, திரையின் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா கண்ணா, திரையின் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா. உன்னை மறைவோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே, திரையின் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா. உன்னை மறைவோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே காண்பார், என்றாலும் குறை ஒன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா, என்றாலும் குறை ஒன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா. குன்றின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்ற வரதா, குன்றின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்ற வரதா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா, கலிநாளுக்கு இறங்கி கலிலே இறங்கி நிலையாக கோயிலில் நிற்கின்றாய் கேசவா. கலிநாளுக்கு இறங்கி நிற்கின்றாய் கேசவா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. யாரும் மறுக்காத மலையப்பா, யாரும் மறுக்காத மலையப்பா, உன் மார்பில் ஏதும் தர நிற்கும் கருணை கடல் அன்னை, என்றும் இருந்திட எது குறை எனக்கு, என்றும் இருந்திட ஏது குறை எனக்கு, ஒன்றும் குறையில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, ஒன்றும் குறையில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்த 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 கோவிந்தா. With the grace of Paramatma, with all of you, we have been able to complete the Bhagavatam Sapthaham for 7 days. As said in the commencement, extremely thankful to the temple, the board, the volunteers, the Bhattar Swamis here, to Kannabiran Mama, to his Dharmapatni, to all the volunteers, right from fixing the mic, to arranging the mic, to bringing all of you here. Big efforts have gone for a series of 7 days. 4 of them were pure weekdays, and you all came for all the days. Big kudos. Tomorrow onwards, I'll be speaking for 7 days. Bhagavatam Sapthaham in Pittsburgh Perumal Temple, Venkateshwara Swami Temple, followed by that 7 days at the Shiva Vishnu Temple, Maryland, Lanham. And then 1 day of lecture on Draupadi in English at Indianapolis. So this is the schedule. Thanks once again. And the book, Ramayanam book, is available on www.giriusa.com. And Agre Pashyami, the dance production through Aim for Seva, I've made an announcement. I have a flight to catch this evening. Every day I had the opportunity to take many photos and answer your questions every day, but this day I've got a flight to catch. I hope you'll all be able to cooperate. So once they honor me with Bhagavad Prasadam, I will have to leave immediately. So today I won't be able to answer questions or take photos. Thank you so much for all the love. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Namaskaram.
I think the temple administration wants to come and thank the Dushyanth Sridhar. While we're waiting for the trustees to come in, let me tell you that the prasada will be available. It's downstairs.
Sri Srinivasa Paramandhanam Naha Sri Srinivasa Kuladevatam Naha Sri Srinivasa Paramandhanam Naha Lakshmi Durgande Veera Lakshmi Hridaya Sarasade Bhutakarunya Lakshmi Tajjagre Chaudya Lakshmi Nikila Gunaganadambare Kirti Lakshmi Sarvange Soumya Lakshmi Toida Vijayatam Sarva Samrajya Lakshmi Sri Vachat Samajit Shamaro Jamavira Shobhamanam Mahirate Dhanam Dhanyam Pashum Bahuputra Labam Chata Samvatsara Tigramayo Dhanam Dhanyam Pashum Bahutirti Labam Chata Samvatsara Tigramayo Rochana Rochama Shobhana Shobhamana Kalyana Punardarshana Prabhaikarya
Thank you, Swamin. I don't want to take any of our Swami's time because he has to know right now actually. He is so busy, so busy. Thanks for coming here, Swami, and captivating watching. Thank you so much, thank you so much. That's said that this cannot be possible without the help of Krishna Mama. Give a big round of applause to him. Without him, this would not be possible. And other than that, there is one person, there are a couple of people, but I want to name the audio man, Sundar Rangarajan. Sundar Rangarajan, supported by Ashwin, and I want to thank Narayanan and Pradeep, our trustee Pradeep. I want to thank all the trustees of our board, and more than that, I want to thank all of you. Please keep coming, and support our thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Sundaram and Ashwin, both of them are we both of them are doing, and Narayan is part of our life. He spent all the time, and he has done a fantastic job. And Pradeep also. Thank you.